All right, let's get started. Welcome everyone. I hope everyone's going well tonight. We're just going to jump straight into it. So tonight we're working on Welk. What I want to work on, let's have a look at that. I want to work on the date time picker. Now, last time I worked on this, I was getting a bit frustrated because I needed to handle the conversions from either a string or a date time into something that the HTML input element can actually handle. I wasn't happy with that at all. So if we have a look into this, we scroll all the way to, as you can see, there's a lot of code for this already. And a lot of this is going to change too. We can see that the model is the datetime model. And that is a computed element where we get the initial handle data and all that kind of fun stuff, and we handle it depending on what type it is, and it just got a bit messy. I ended up not being happy with this at all, which is why I haven't sort of used it in NearBeach as of yet. And I'm just like, nah. At the end of the day, nah. Not happy at all. There are a couple of things we need to actually implement. So, for example, we'll need to pass through the min and max, which, once again, we don't know if they're strings or if they're a particular type of datetime object. It's mental. This one is a bit mental. We also have whether or not it is disabled. We're also got the old validation system in here, which I'm gonna have to rip out and redo. So a lot of this I want to rip out and just redo. Like I definitely want to rip out all of this and so forth like that. I'm just not happy with it at all. So what we're gonna do is, you might wonder why I've just done that. Essentially, I'm going to start using the Git flow to start doing feature releases and so forth like that. All right, so let's check out develop. There we are. We're going to go git flow feature start, and then what we want to do is we want to go date time picker. Like so, easy done. Now I've just hit an ad break on Twitch. With for those on YouTube wondering what's actually happening, we run ads every half an hour on Twitch. That's just to stop the pre-rolled ads because the pre-rolled ads suck. So yeah, here we are. So yeah, hopefully everyone's going well tonight. We've got about a minute left of the ads, and then we'll jump right back into it. So yeah, and I need a haircut soon. This is getting really, really long. Yeah, I need to really trim it back this time. All right, we've got about 45 seconds left. So trying to think what I want with the datetime picker. We've also got to pick certain things with the NearBeach API and so forth like that. I might actually open up a tab just to run the NearBeach API in the background, because that also makes us decide on certain features and so forth like that. And welcome back, everyone. All right, let's jump right back into it. So I'm just going to go npm run dev here. It's just going to run the dev site. It's going to compile everything. We're all going to be happy and all that kind of fun stuff. I'm thinking of just gutting this. Absolutely gutting this today. Yeah, a lot of this, I'm just not happy with it. Now, what we want to do is we want to copy the similar way how we're actually handling the web text input. In the case that we're using validations and so forth like that. Which also reminds me, I need to pass through specific validations. Which is going to be our first blocker. So I need to actually do min date, max date. So I'm just going to minimize all this. Let's focus on that at the moment. This will be part of the source. We've got the composables. We've got the this we're not touching. This will be part of the validation. And we've got a bunch of rules in here. For example, max value and so forth like that. We want to make this as easy for everyone to sort of use with the min date and max date. Just having a think. JavaScript dates are tricky if you're not used to them. They act in weird and wonderful ways, and I know I get frustrated with them all the time. So, for example, if we go var a equals new date, and we go, oh, the date's actually going to be, let's say, 2019-09, I'm going to go 15. I don't know what happened on that date. I'm just pulling this out of my hat. We can see that this has done that perfectly for us, and it's like, all right, cool. So that's the date. Now you'll notice that there's a time zone included on there, and I think that's going to throw up a little bit of a spanner for us. What with the date time picker? Oh, wrong screen. Sorry, I was on the. If we go Mozilla Development Network date time. So I'll bump this off to the right so you guys can see what I'm actually reading. So if we go in here, oh, that's part of the date stuff. Now I wanted the picker. No go. Sorry. Input type date. That's what we want. You'll notice in here we've got the min value set like that and the max value set like that. Now, I don't know if I'm guaranteed that the user will do that for me. And if we pick the date and we decide to go, whoops, well past January. So the first, that's the earliest date this can pick. I can't pick any earlier whatsoever. Now, this is the fun thing with date times. You can have, oops, sorry, I forgot to put that on live chat. You can have two people in two different, completely and utterly different time zones. So, for example, right now, I think it might still be the 7th of April, where it's the 8th of April here in some parts of America. Oh, no, it is the 8th. All right, cool. If I was 3 hours earlier, they would still be yesterday for me instead of being today. And the problem is, I either do a conversion to UTC time in Welk. And then pass that output. This is the annoying thing. I've got to handle this time zone somewhere. Now, part of me is saying, let's have a look at the NearBeach stuff. So I'll just go localhost API version 1 project, and let's just go 1. Now, I do actually have a start date and end date here, and that's in UTC time. That you'll also notice that's a string. It's not a datetime object. So if I actually grab that, let's go var a equals new date. It's going to work fine. And as you can see, it puts it perfectly into our time zone. And this is where I'm throwing up, where should I actually do this this thing? Because in reality, I could potentially do that. I can then grab this. I'm pretty sure I can send back in JSON format everything including the time zone, and then the backend will actually handle that conversion perfectly fine, but I'm not 100% sure, and testing the bejeevers out of that is going to annoy the hell out of me. Also, we have a problem here. So we have a essentially a, I'm not going to say shifting variable, I'm going to say shifting time zone. So the backend sends you a date time, all right, that is in UTC format. All right, this goes into the store as UTC time. It's a string, but that's perfectly fine. If we then pass that into the Welk, that goes in as UTC time. All right, there's a bit of conversion into the model, but then this will then output local time zone. So all of a sudden, we've gone from UTC to a local time zone, and that is most likely going to cause us issues. So now, in this particular case, we're also outputting a date object, and I think what we can do is to ISO string. We can put it back into an ISO string. It goes back into that sort of thing, and that will solve that problem for this particular case. But we're not always got this particular case. So another example would be var a equals, let's say new date, let's say 2023 02 14. What was the date I had before? Yeah, I had that, but I didn't put in any time zones whatsoever. Give me 2 seconds. That's UTC string. I'm trying to find another example. All right, that works. That works perfectly fine. All right. Let's say we've got this as a string. We kind of want to input it back to that string, if at all plausible. And what if we have, let's say var c equals new date, let's say Tuesday the 14th of Feb 2023. Let's say it is 8 a.m. in the morning. I don't know the Western Australia time zone in here. Give me 2 seconds. JavaScript, Western Australia time zone. AWST. Invalidate. All right. I screwed up. Double checking most of that lines up. Oh, actually. Oh, still invalidate, so it isn't that. It is actually the time zone. Oh, I've got to do all that kind of stuff. Well, there goes my trying to figure this out. All right, so let's let's look what variables we can send through, or what type of variables we can send through. So if I were to send through a model, give me 2 seconds, sorry. So we've got a date model. All right, cool. What types? All right, for starters, we'll do null. Perfectly fine. Easy done. There'll be many cases of that. So if I jump back over here, let's get rid of this. Let's actually go up, and I think it was 13. We've got nulls here. Perfect. Easy done. We'll have string. And this is where we've got to think about the string. Is it going to be in ISO format? Is there a type for it? Oops, where am I going? Am I going over here? All right. Are we only going to accept ISO format? Which, hey, that might be the case. Where we're just literally stating this is the format we want it in. If you got another format and it works, cool. However, it's not going to work as you expected, and that's something that we would have to document. I'm happy if that is something we're just going to draw a line in the sand and just go, oh, this is it. Another thing that you can actually do is you can pass through a number. So if you don't know this, let's open this. Let's go into the console. Let's just hide all of Google's issues. Let's go var a equals new date. Let's pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. And that's actually that's a date. No joke. That's the January the 15th, 1970. There we go. So we can accept numbers. And then the last thing I want to accept is a date object. Now, if this string is in ISO format, makes my life a lot easier, and I'm just going to lean on it and be like, you know what, I'm just going to keep it in ISO format. We're not going to touch anything else. That way I can pass the string into a date object. I can also do that with the number. I can pass a number into the date object. That's not going to be a problem. And I do believe it's also very friendly. So if we do b equals new date and we just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0 as a string. Oh, it doesn't do it. All right, so we need to double check that if it is a number, I think it's math dot. Oh, I've forgotten this. All right, give me 2 seconds. This is where it's got to be, is number. Sorry, I just got to reread this again very, very quickly. Description, static properties, absolute solution, all the cos, tans, and coshes all around. We've got our logs, we've got our min, we've got our max. Yep, sure. Oh, don't we have okay. I thought we did. Oh, is integer I'm thinking of. Okay. Sorry, I'm thinking of something completely and utterly different. Where's my example? It'll be... Oh, number. Not math, number. And then we've got integer, and we pass through b, and that's a false. Okay. Type of b is a string. All right, so I've just got to think how I am going to tackle this as a problem. Because yeah, someone could easily put an integer in there as a string, and we gotta, you know, pass it out. I'm just also wondering if we go new date and we go, let's say 1.5, that still pumps out something. But we're not worried about that at all. And I'm also just wondering what happens if we go... So we can always pass an int. And that's the thing, is we can't pass an int on the date time strings. So I'm just thinking of all the different ways someone could use these 4 ways to screw up our calculations and so forth like that. So luckily for us, with the number, it's just going to be an integer and stuff like that. That's going to be fine. With the datetime object, that's going to be fine. With the null, that's going to be fine. It's only with the string. So if we write down our problem. So our problem string can contain both ISO format and, well, that's off a little, and a number. Not a number, number. And that's what we have to solve. And hi, how are you going? Osama. Osamak, I should say, sorry. How are you going? Hopefully you're going well. Alright, so... So I'm just racking my brain at the moment. How I can... I think I got the formula in my head. And it shouldn't be too bad. We can also put these formulas or functions, they'll be functions, into composables. That way we're using them over and over again. Yeah, all right. So I'm happy with that. Yeah, we'll close that one. We don't need that one anymore. I'm having a quick look at this. We've got this. There's also datetime local, which will be a little bit more complicated, which makes me want to sort of tackle both the date and the time ones first. That way I can get them over and done with very, very quickly. Where's the time ones? And max, yeah, oh, sorry, I forgot. That's Ox, how are you? Yeah, I might do that. I might just simplify it, get it over and done with. So yeah. I've just thought of another problem. Actually, no, it won't be a problem because date fields don't have time zone attached to them. It doesn't make any sense. It's time that actually has the time zone. All right, don't worry. I thought I'm just overcomplicating things. So I'm going to minimize everything. I'm going to open up source. I'm going to open up components. We don't actually have a time one at the moment. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab the text input. We're just going to copy that. Because it's going to be the same sort of layout and all that kind of fun stuff. So yeah, we're just going to paste it. There we go. There's paste. Instead of text, it'll be time input. Let those in. We've got our time input. We're going to rename this. There we go. Easy done. I'm not going to worry about max value just yet. We're going to handle that next. What we want to do, so we've got the whelk time input. This will be the same. So we've got the label, we've got the placeholder, we've got all, and then we've got the validation rules. I realize I also want to do date first, not time. Shoot. All right, not a problem. Now, if things come in, let's say the server's UTC or whatever the server is, it's going to send me some data in a, let's just show you. It's going to send it like this. So we'll most likely have that in a times. Oh, I don't know. I don't have a time field to test this with. Shoot. All right. I'm going to skip the time. Sorry. Let's just do the date picker. Gives me some more time to think about the time. So we've got the whelk date. I'm going to open up the whelk input because essentially we're copying large droves of this anyway. For example, the template is almost the same. We'll have, this will be date input. Yeah, I should rename that. And hi, Arch. How are you going? No, I don't want it as date input. No, sorry. I'm just flip-flopping on what I want to call things. I'll just call it whelk date. And then down here, we'll have the whelk date. It'll be very similar to all of this down here. We just format everything like that. Easy done. What am I building? I'm building whelk. So it's going to be a dumb component library that we'll use for NearBeach. NearBeach is the project management system that we've mostly built. 0.31 is at a stable state, but we're pretty much refactoring all the code also like that. And yes, yeah, we do. Nightbot has just put where the repository is a couple of comments up. So yeah. Alright, so we got most of that. So we're quite happy with that. Now this will be datetime local. So that's what we want. And I actually no, it'll be just a datetime. There we go. Date. Sorry, I'm confusing myself like there's no tomorrow at the moment. We'll need to get the component ID. That will be part of all of that, and then we'll have the props and stuff like that, which once again we just copy the props. We also admit some of the stuff. I do wish I could create a base view component and be like, cool, this can all belong in the base view component, and then Bob's your uncle and all this stuff won't have to be written over and over and over again. But hey, it's fine. Alright, validation interfaces. I do not like how it doesn't like to... Actually, no, this will be... types, validation rules, interface.ts. There you go, easy done. We don't have a model. The model's once again pretty easy. That's just going to... be something like that. However, we've got a required true. Type will be string number with a capital. Null. It has to be defined. Actually, undefined. What do we say? I'm trying to remember. Oh, and date object, which I don't know what it is. We're gonna have to look up Vue to see if we can actually have multiple different types of models. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go VueJS with different types. So yeah, we usually define the model. Alright, yeah, cool. Not what we want, not what we want, not what we want. Oh, alright, cool. I guess we don't worry. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Oh, alright. So I've just realized that's probably not going to work. And the reason... Alright, no, we'll keep going. You're a moon stack. I've never... To user experience in this AI era, I feel insecure. Can you guide me how to... I've got a couple of vices, don't worry. A lot of the times when technology has replaced jobs... Oh. So I like to say ATMs replaced a lot of bank tellers and stuff like that, but the job market migrated somewhere else. So you all of a sudden had engineers, you know, servicing and building the ATM. Oh, you got the maintenance. You got the software side of things. So a lot of that sort of migrated. You never know, you might migrate into something different, and that's perfectly fine. As a programmer, I wouldn't worry about that at all. Especially because a lot of your skills will migrate with you. I didn't start off as a programmer. I started off as a data scientist. So, yeah, don't worry about migrating. AI should be used as a tool, not a crutch. And I can see a lot of people using it as a crutch, and essentially it's just going to cause more problems down the track. Stuff like, which I'm fixing right now at NearBeach, technical debt. It just builds up every now and then, and you really need to know the whole system to clean it out, and so forth like that. So, yeah. What is VueJS and TS extensions is TypeScript? Yes, so TS is TypeScript. VueJS is if you know what React is, it's very similar in the sense that it is a JavaScript framework. So, but also to sort of finish up this arch, I don't know what's going to happen. And that's fine. All right, we need to check the validation. Which will be pretty much all of this code. I should have really just copied the whole thing. Because I've just literally pasted everything in from another one. Oops. I can't believe that fucking... Alright, cool. I don't think this is going to work straight off the bat, but we can test. It's going to minimize everything. I'm just going to open up this. I'm just going to open up exactly what we need. So I had a couple of folders open. We'll also deal with the local stuff. What I'm going to do is I'm going to import the welk date from components welk date. All right, cool. I thought I changed that. Yeah, I did change that. Down here, we're just going to go welk date. We'll have a label equals please select a date. We don't need options, we don't need values, we don't need options. We've got the v model, and we're just going to go date model in there. We're going to finish that one off. That's pretty much it. We just need to go const date model equals ref. We're just going to copy the ref from here. We're not going to, we're not going to worry about that too much. I just realized it's in quotes itself, so we'll just get rid of that like that and do that. Oh yeah, all good, all good. So yeah, I'm building NearBeach, which is an open source project management system. Welk is going to be the dumb component library for it. And when I mean dumb, I mean it's not going to have much logic there. The idea of welk is I want to reuse these particular components for something else I'm going to build next. So yeah. All right, I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm going to open up and we're just going to go to V. All right, cool. Sorry about the brightness. I do apologize. If I hit refresh again, we don't actually notice how we don't have a date time in there. All right, and you might be wondering, oh, that's a bit weird. And I'm like, yeah. This reminds me of last time I actually was playing around with date times in JavaScript. It was pissing me off. If we have a look at the date time, you can see that the model is passing through correctly, but if we actually get rid of a lot of this and we save that, you'll notice that the dates change perfectly fine. So we need to actually have that middle management to handle this. Well, it's open source, so I don't get paid for it, but I know that there are a couple of users out there for NearBeach. In fact, give me a couple of seconds. I actually use it to build NearBeach and Welk and all that kind of stuff. I can't actually show you my production environment, but I can show some of my production environment. All right, cool, here it is. Sorry, I had to log in and all that kind of stuff. So NearBeach has Kanban board functionality built into it, so you can create cards and drag and drop them. You can create basic organization and customer details just to track who's got what sort of tasks. You can create projects, requirements, and tasks. So requirements are what the user requires. They're broken, think stories, user stories, and they're broken down into requirement items. And when you're ready for a deployment, you got requests for changes. So yeah. This is 0.31. This one has a lot of technical debt in it, just because there's a lot that I've learned over the years. And I've decided to go in and finally fix up a lot of this technical debt. So yeah, and also make it look a lot nicer, which is why we're building Welk out. So we build Welk out, we'll have control of how it looks, and we'll go from there. All right, so the problem is, this sure kind of works, but at the same time it doesn't. Now I'm trying to remember date fields. Give me a couple of seconds. So we want the Django REST framework date fields. Well, they changed their documentation. Alright, source, help, label, boolean fields, no, string fields, no. Numerical fields, no. Date and time field. So we've got a date and time field, which is not what we want. We want specifically a date field. So a date field, format, should be in this format, which is fine. All right, so in theory, this should come back as 01, like that. All right. In fact, to tell you what, we're going to use their date. All right. Now, if we go to our Welk in the front, I'm just going to hit refresh. So there it is in that format. Now, that's month, day, year. I don't like that as an Australian. I can't read that very well. And this might be one of the things where I allow the user to pass through the override of how that format actually happens. Because that shouldn't be too hard to actually implement. And then, yeah. All right, let's do that very, very quickly. So with the Welk date, we'll go up to the props. I'm just trying to think of a good name. Format, sure, would be good. Using Vue as backend API, or no, I'm using Vue as the front end. Django REST framework and Django are part of the backend. So Django will handle all the auth. Django REST framework will handle all the pretty much CRUD. Unless there's a special case where I don't want that on the API, which there might be. So yeah. All right. I don't need that one open anymore. Where's my input? We don't want time, we just want date. Got that. I'm just looking in here for the wording around formatting what they're using. So we've got max, we've got min. We'll actually have those pass through as validations. We'll have step using date inputs. Do we have the format? Technical summary, blah, blah. All right, let's actually have a look. HTML input type date format. Display format. Oh, that might be. No HTML override. There is no standard HTML attribute like format. Alright, damn. Browser logic. If the user is set to United States English, they may say, but I'm not. Am I? I am. Oh. Let's actually do English Australia. Oh, Great Britain. All right, cool. First of the month, no, still. All right, view page source. We've got it as EN. We don't want the daytime local because that will mean oh, hold on. We've got a type. Oh, it's let's just say there's some antiquated stuff in JavaScript which makes this 10 times harder, and every single time I use date times and stuff like that, I'm like, I'll never use them again. But in this sort of case, I want to sort of control well. I don't want a third-party library in here. So yeah, I just want that full control. Alright, so going back into here, we could potentially, now they're saying type month. Yeah, format, something like that. It is impossible to change the format. We have to differentiate between the over-the-wire format and the browser's presentation format. So the HTML5 date input specifier referred to which specifies a full format sequence. Yeah, we've got that. Type date, autocomplete, autofocus list, min, max. All right, step required value. Yeah, all right. Those are the basic sort of things. For Chrome, Firefox, and Opera, the formatting of the input user's text is based on the browser's language setting. For Edge, it's based on the Windows language setting. Sadly, all web browsers ignore the date formatting configuration in the operating system. Boo! To the strain behavior and considers. Alright, cool. For example, Dutch users that have their operating system or browser language set to English US will be shown that instead of the formatted like that. Alright, cool. Mobile devices, yada yada yada. This is annoying. Since this question was, hold on, I'll do that so you guys can actually also read along with me. Since this question was asked a few things have happened in the web realm, yay! And one of the most exciting is the landing of web components. Once again, I don't want to include someone else's stuff in here. All right, cool. Now you can solve the issue with a custom HTML element. Which we're building using Vue. Designed to suit your needs. If you wish to override changes, the workings of the HTML tag to build your own, just playing with the shadow DOM. The good news is that there's already a lot of boilerplate available, so you won't need to check out with people in building to get ideas. I mean, this is what we're doing with Vue. Or you can get as complex data style as you wish with the format locals, design qualifiers. Yeah, alright, cool. Standard compliance, no hacks. Double check the available poly. Alright, no. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to change this to EN, I think it's AU. Yeah, all right. I've got to make sure that we do actually have it in Australian English. Oh, it's capitals. Like that. All right, not a problem. We'll quickly do this. So inside of this, I'm just going to find our index. I'm just going to do that. We're going to make sure that passes through. Yep, perfect. It's just date times. And then, yeah, it doesn't want to format like the rest of the world. That is really annoying. Let's read what other people have stated. Input element is used to allow users to buy the default yada yada. JavaScript can be used to employ a specific format as browsers, include the attribute format like that. So name, date, ID. Yeah, all right, cool. Label for yada yada yada. That's just date, ID, pattern. Hang on. Having a look at this very, very quickly. All right, I've got that. That is a valid type date. I'm just going to copy this very, very quickly. We can do what we want with it down here. Let's see what that actually brings out. I should do that as 30. Yeah, it's still doing it like that. Yeah, that pattern thing's full of crud. If I, for example, pick a different date. All right, give me another minute. Let's HTML input date time local. So this will be datetime local and so forth like that, but I don't want the time stuff in there. In addition to the attributes covered to all input, datetime local input offers the following: max, min. All right, cool. Step, yep. Controlling the input size, yep. Input doesn't provide is a way to set the time zone and the local datetime control. This was available in datetime input type, but this type is now obsolete, having been removed from the spec. The main reason why was the removed a lack of implementation in browsers, concerns over the user's interface. Yeah, it's easy just to have a control or controls for setting the date time and then deal. All right, cool. If you're creating a system where the user is likely to be logged in with their local already set, you could provide a time zone hidden for that import. All right, yeah. On the other hand, if you were to select another, all right. Oh, sorry, big yawn. Oh, sorry, I didn't realize we were on an ad break. Ooh. Damn it. For those on YouTube wondering what's happening, we run ads on Twitch every half an hour. We do this so no one misses out on any content. You get to see me and my cat, Socks, who's over there patiently waiting for treats. So, oh, there we go. We've got about 10 seconds left of the ads, and then we'll jump right back into it as I try and figure out date times. I'm not a fan about them. Alright, let's get back into it. So, yeah, that was a bit of fluff, that one. Thing is, I don't want to actually include the times. I just want this in a format. Let's remove the word format from our search. So input date, yeah, let's just read this. So we've got input date like that. Input field alert. It's month, day, year in the US or in the UK. Is determined by the user's browser and operating system. This... Give me a couple of seconds. Let's... Because my time zone is in Melbourne. And, yes, great. This is really helpful, Chrome. Just cover up half your fucking stuff. But yeah, clearly that is not working at all. Now, what I could potentially do is make these number fields and all that kind of fun stuff and handle it myself, but I'm hoping that there is a browser native solution to this. Just because there's less code for me, less stuff to do for me. Let's import data to manually change the display format, e.g. to force the month, day, because the presentation is determined by the user's operating system settings. However, you can achieve your month, day display or value by why, regardless of how date is displayed to the user month, day, the internal value handled by the JavaScript and sent to the server is always, yep, alright, cool, that's fine. That's not what we want. Via local, if you want the input displayed as for your users, they must have their system browser or local set to a region that uses such format. Excuse me, I already set it to Australia, and you're not showing it in the correct way anyway. Unless I'm missing some really stupid thing. If you must strictly enforce the languages. I did do languages on Chrome. Sorry. We've got Japanese. I'm just going to remove that one. I'm going to remove that one. We're going to add in another language. I'm going to add in English Australia. We're going to add it in. All right, cool. All right. Still, it's like that, but that might be because of the Japanese language. But I've changed it on Firefox. Great Britain. English. Remove. There we go. All right. Should tick that one. Yeah. Where's that, Google? There we go. You must strictly enforce a display regardless of user settings. You cannot use the native type equals date. You must use one of these workarounds. Text input pattern. With pattern attribute to false. No, I don't want to. No. No. That might be it. There's nothing to do with CSS in here. Input date. So what it says. System level regional settings for data input fingerprinting set use installed browser version and your in-browser language preference. I'm fucking doing that. You fucking ass. Sorry, I'm just getting really frustrated with Firefox. Alright. General language. already done, motherfuck. Oh, don't say I have to reset the browser. You know what? I'm gonna do that. Screw it. Because if that fixes it, then good. Oh, the music stopped. Piss off. No, it's still using that. Ah, fuck off. Yeah, we're doing all of that. All right. All right, the joys. The joys of broken components on the internet. I don't know why that's not showing in any other format. And at this particular moment, I just don't care. The good news is it's sort of looking like what's up here, which is nice. Cool. I'm gonna have to leave it like that. That's the problem. I kind of want a format to come through, unless I get it where if the user focuses on this, it always brings up this, and then I can have a particular format in here. And that might have to be it. I don't like that at all. But it is a hack we can do. And what I mean is, instead of actually having this input here like this, it'll be squeezed down into a 0 pixel. And when someone clicks on this, it'll actually bring up this. Give me a couple of secs. Let's see if I can inspect this. This is... I'm going to give this an ID. Oh, I should already have it as an... There should be already an ID for it. So what I want to do is I'm just going to go var a equals document.get element by ID. We're just passing through that ID. Don't know how I can get it to expand the date time picker. Now, another thing I could potentially do is I can have it, and I don't want to do this because it's a lot of work. and it's annoying. It's like, yeah, I could probably have it input field when you click on it, and it brings up the date times. You use the date times to actually change it. You don't actually change it by entering the values, or I force it to be in a particular type of value pattern. And then I can give the user the pattern and stuff like that. Don't comment on my keyboard, please. Okay. I don't know what to do. All I know is I hate date times. Well, I hate the date fields too. What the fuck have they done? Alright, give me a couple of seconds. Let's see if we can take this from a different perspective. Let's go input date time local only show date. Alright, let's just get the AI to do this for us. So, there you go. Type date, name, trip start. Fuck off. She must use the date time for technical reasons. Oh my god, piss off. Use the web to control the format of users' input real time, ensuring it matches specific patterns like Alright, cool. Regular expressions, sure. Telephone password. The reason why I still want to use a date field is because on mobile, if someone clicks that, it brings up what's specifically on that mobile. Alright, oh no. So I'm just having a think. HTML input, text, show date, picker. All right. I'm just seeing if this is possible. You know, they've got to type that. I mean, that might be a solution. This is... So what I'm thinking is having a masked element, but then I gotta deal with the formatting and hey. This is... I don't think the show picker will work on anything random. Like, if I go into here, let's say I've just got input type equals text on focus equals this dot show picker. I don't think it'll work. Alright, we can try that out now. Doesn't work. But if we have it as a date, let's move it over. Boom. That's what we kind of want to happen. When the picker is picked on focus, it should show the picker. Doesn't want to format it the way we fucking want it to. Which is beyond annoying. So on here, we can do that. Doesn't like this. Oh no, it'll be actually a plain thing. Sorry, it'll be on focus up here. Yeah, that's it. Sorry. So if then boom, we got it like that. But one of the problems is if someone clicks any of the numbers, it really does meant to actually select those numbers, and then you can go up and down. Can't use the date time local because it'll need a time zone, and that just will cause issues for us. Give me a couple of seconds. Visible to user, formatting according to the user's local. Yep, alright, cool. No. Well, I'm glad I started with the dates. I don't know how I'm going to get the format to work. That's just one of the problems. And I'm just wondering, when I click on an item, I can get the reference and then I can easily get the focus on that thing and then change it like that. But the problem is, how will I pass through the formatting? It's best just to leave it with the local formatting, but I don't want the date time in there. All right, let's go into the input here. Let's just go date time local. That will show up like that. So even now it's month day. What the fuck? Is Firefox broken? Give me a couple of seconds. Let's... Oh my god, no. It's grabbing it from the system, and it's... Alright, it's probably something really silly and stupid. In this sort of case, what I'm going to do... I'm going to just move forward with this. I'm just going to assume that for some strange reason, the language has changed to American on here. And I'm not going to log out midstream to set all that up. Just not worth it. Alright, so I'm just going to move forward with this. Hope for the best. If it isn't, I'll have to figure something out at a later date. I swear to you, we actually had that all up and running perfectly fine not that long ago. Alright, cool. If I do that, let's go into Chrome. Let's actually see what actually happens in Chrome. I still got my month, day, and all that kind of bloody piss. But, alright. So we've got the Welk date in here. Now, we know that the model's got to be a particular type of string. We've got to also make sure that it works. If it doesn't work... For example, if I go into here, I'm just going to close that, that's perfectly fine. If I go into here and I just accidentally change this, let's say I mistype. Cool. It's going to come up with this and people are just, it's just not going to work. So they key in the correct thing. If we do something like that, and I'm just going to hit refresh, it works perfectly fine. All right, cool. So it's going to be in that format. We've got to document that. We're going to be like, listen, this is a native component. You've got to actually have it like this. However, that being said, if it comes from Django into here, it'll be in that format. It will be a string. We're going to be fine with it. All right, cool. I'm just going to draw the line on that and go, yep, this is fine. This is working. It's a dumb component. So we just need to do the validation now. So validation. Got a bunch of rules. We've got max value. What I'm going to do. We're going to have min date.ts. I'm going to have max date.ts. I'm just going to close everything. That is not what we're focusing on at the moment because I just don't have the time or effort. So in here, we're just going to do that. Oh, fuck off. Oh, sorry. That should be export const minimum date. Sorry, that was my bad. Yeah, that's fine. In here, it'll be minimum date. And then we're just going to go through this. Const max value, blah, blah, blah. That'll be min date. That will be a string. And that will be min. I just don't care. Delete end. Minimum date is. Just pass through the min. Check the type. In this sort of case, is not string. Value must be a string if because it passes through a value, we've got to actually check it. So const date check equals new date and then value if date check equals, and this is where we've got to go over here. We're going to create a fake number. So we're going to go var equals at new date, and we're just going to put like that. And as you can see, it's an invalid date. So that will be false. Yeah, that won't work. All right, that works. Not a valid number. Oh my god, how do we do this in TypeScript? Invalidate. All right, cool. So if we do dot get time, it's not a number. All right, sweet. Perfect. All right, value must be a date object. Must be of a there we go. It's done. Well, we've just done that. All right, cool. And then down here, actually, this should be value date. Easy done. No, what am I doing? All right, no, we need to double check that. All right, I'm mucking up here. In this sort of case, this should be min date. And then we format the message. All right, cool. And then we should... Actually, we should do the same with both of these. There might be a case where someone might clear the date out entirely. In which case, value. All right. If value is empty, return true as required will take care of this. As required will take care of that validation. All right, cool. So if value equals that or value equals null, just return true. Yeah, that's it. Check the dates. And then we just need to return. So in this sort of case, what we want to do is it'll be the value date dot get time should be less than or equal to the min date. Sorry, this should be greater or equal to the min date dot get time, or we send through a message. Give me a couple of seconds. I'm just figuring out this min value. It's going to be a number. That's not a number. That's a string. And it should be min date equals that. We just need to add that in. Oh, that should be max, sorry. There we go. That will fix all of that. Just my brain is just not braining tonight. All right. Now we've got to do the max. Before I change anything, I'm just checking for max in there. Cool. This will be maximum date, so we'll have maximum date in there. Double check that I haven't done something stupid. There we go. Yep. In here we'll have max. That will be string. We'll have underscore max date down here. Yep. Cool. We've got the message, and then we'll have the format message. Be a string. Also, there's some stuff which will get copied over into here. Easy done. For example, this will definitely paste into there. We're definitely going to paste that one in too, because it's the same sort of conditioning. And then essentially this is all the same. Like so. That will be that. And then it'll be like that. It'll be max date. All right. I think that's it for the validation.
I'm done. Sorry, yeah, I'm just over date times. I'm just not in the mood tonight. We're gonna raid Hypnotic Games. He looks like he's having a lot better success than what I am, which is good. But yeah, sorry, I'm just not in the mood. It just drives me nuts, date times and stuff like that. I already go on a rant about time zones. I am at breaking point with HTML input date time for shittery, just to put it lightly. So yeah, let's just raid Hypnotic Games. Anyway, thank you very much for being here.